Mobile device security. How important is mobile device security? Who among us does not have some sort of mobile device? They are everywhere. They're ubiquitous. They're used in business and personal life. So let's look at backing them up. Does anybody think about the fact that maybe all your photos on your phone might disappear if your phone crashes? How do we secure them? How do we troubleshoot them? So there's supporting mobile. Okay, here we go. So one of the things that you'll want to make sure, and we've seen this before, everything that we own that's a smart device, we want to make sure that it's up to date. Up to date, up to date. Even if it's set to automatically update, it is a very good idea to manually check every so often because computers don't always work like they're supposed to. Or I should say, devices, electronic devices don't always do what they're supposed to do. So always check for updates manually. And there's some slides here. I imagine that probably things have changed since these little slides. You can write mobile apps. We used to have a class for a little bit on mobile application development, but it was pretty specific, so we had to remove it. So there is a free Android SDK, standard development kit. You can write actually app programs in lots of different things. You can write it in Python, you can write it in Visual Studio. With an Apple, however, you have to have a Mac to write Apple software, where with Android, you can write it with anything. So that's interesting. If you're interested in that, good research project. And when you're developing software for an application, there's always an emulator so you can try it out before you send it to the phone. So, do we have with our phones a way to do different types of backups? Well, Android allows us to back up to a Google Drive. So maybe if you want to make sure you don't lose everything, take a check, and who knows if it's in settings and system and backup anymore, but you'll want to check to see where it is. You can also plug in a USB cable and you have access to your phone as a device. Well, let's try that. Well, I took a look and did a little research on my Samsung Note 9 or something like that. I couldn't find an easy way to transfer between my device and a computer. I plugged in the USB cable. It just started charging when I plugged it into my computer. So I would have to do a little more research on that. Every phone is probably going to be a little bit different, is my guess. But if you can get it to work, it should show up something like this. Now, I did go in and take a look at my backup and recovery settings on my Android, and it is backing up. So we want to make sure that we have, there's an Android locator app, which I thought that was kind of cool. You should probably go ahead and do that if you have an Android. And I imagine iOS has a locator application. So it's kind of interesting. You can go into your Google account and then you see right where your phone is. Yeah, I tried that out. You should try that out too. As far as I know, both of them have the same thing. You can make it play a sound, secure the device, erase the device for both Android and iOS. If you don't know about it, it's a good time to take a look at it. In fact, I'm going to add an assignment to this week for that because I think that's cool. So what kind of protection do you have on your phone to get into it? Well, there's a screen lock, swipe lock, PIN, passcode, pattern, fingerprint, facial. I have an Android, so I have my, I have a PIN code and I do the fingerprint. It's not two-factor authentication, but it does give me two different ways to get in my device. I don't know, maybe the newer Androids have facial recognition. I know iOS does. And if you don't have those extra things set up, well, all devices are different. Google is your friend for that, or try ChatGPT. Sometimes that comes up with the right answer. Sometimes it doesn't, which is kind of like Googling, isn't it? You can set it up so that the data is erased after a certain number of failed login attempts. Yeah, I think iOS has that set up automatically. That'd be another good research project, is look up failed login attempts. That's if someone's trying to hack your phone. There's been lawsuits on that one, if you're keeping up with everything. You can also do full device encryption. Mine has some sort of a program called Knox on it that allows it to be fully encrypted. Oh, maybe that's why I can't get to it. It's encrypted. Okay, and there's all kinds of access controls. You can set them up yourself. I'm going to add that to my my assignment I'm going to put together. Trusted sources are a good place to get your applications from. Some users want to do Android is based on Linux, so if they can get administrator or root access, then you have administrative privilege to the entire OS. Well, that can be dangerous if you get a piece of malware. And guess what? There's malware for phones and everything. There's malware for everything. For iOS, it's called jailbreaking. Not a recommended practice for security. Use trusted sources. Let's see, BYOD means bring your own device. Well, it depends. In corporate environments, sometimes you can bring your own device. At WNCC, we don't have a BYOD policy. Our mobile devices just connect up. My personal mobile devices just connect up to the internet. We don't have where we have our personal devices that can connect to our network. But some companies do. Some companies have, they don't have all of them in here. Some companies have that the company buys the device. Some companies have that they do have the fact that you can bring your own device. They partition your phone, so some of it is used for their stuff, some of it is not used for their stuff. All right, so troubleshooting, kind of like everything else. Before you close, uninstall, and reinstall an app, restart the device, shut it down, turn it back on again. Then uninstall and reinstall an app. Well, the last two are a bit nuclear. So you can update, repair, or reinstall the OS. Yeah, you can recover it from a backup. You can reset over by setting the device to its factory state. Now that is a very nuclear option. I haven't had to do that. I had to do that once with one of my phones because it just started acting weird. And so I did a factory default, logged into it, Google backup, brought back all my stuff, and reconnected me to all my cloud services, so it wasn't too bad. And if you update, repair, or reinstall the OS, same idea. All right. Yeah, you want to back things up, update it. Yep. There's some instructions there. Probably it's very generic instructions because things have changed over time. And this book is a couple years old by now. And so even, recovery mode, troubleshooting, these specific things are just not very useful. Short battery life or power drain. Well, disable wireless connections. Disable cell if you're not using it. Replaceable battery. Who has a phone where you can replace the battery without taking the thing apart? Nobody. They're designed to be thrown in the landfill and then you get a new one, which is not very ecologically friendly. It does help the companies get their revenue in a steady flow. My Samsung Note 9 is, I think, 2-3 years old and the battery still goes for 2 or 3 days. Sometimes I think it's just a matter if you're lucky and you get a good battery. I do have a couple Google updates that are not updating right now. I'm not sure what that is. That's an app. My phone is old enough that they're not sending out updates to the OS anymore, which is not very nice because, yet again, they're trying to get you to buy a new phone. Well, I like my phone. I'm going to stick with it. And you can see how much storage you're using. And of course, this is not going to be in the same place. You do want to keep track of, are you running out of storage? Just like a regular computer. If you're running out of storage, it's going to cause problems. I think mine has 64 gigabytes of internal storage, which is way more than I'm ever going to use. Newer phones have a lot more storage capability. I don't even know what a Google Cache is. However, your best bet is going to be Googling things. If it is your device, oh, I didn't know that. If you can't get into your device, you can search for methods to unlock your device. Ah, okay. Never done that. Never had to do that. I always remember my password. And if I don't remember my password, it's in my password storage area. So I've not run into anybody with a phone that has malware to this point. I've never had malware. The only malware I've had is during the election, where I was getting texts from all my new friends who are running for office. I text them back and they just don't respond, so I don't understand that. Apparently they just wanted me to vote for them and didn't really want to be my friend. All right, so we're not interested in that. There we go. That's some basics about mobile phones. When you get to a bigger company, they may have something called an MDM, a mobile device management system server. So Regional West has one of those. We have one for our iOS devices to manage our Apple iPads. We have a bunch of Apple iPads running around. Well, they're not running around. People carry them around. So we have a mobile device management. They can load software, can wipe them out, that kind of thing. And at Regional West, they have mobile device management system. And two of our former students, they both graduated, work on the phone system, and part of their responsibility is the mobile device management system. So yes, enterprise, we have to manage things. Thank you. That was chapter 18. I hope you learned something about mobile device management.